Today I bring back with another video, and this video topic is going to be the Zenless Zero, which I'm going to test this game on my current configuration, which consists of a iGPU of a Vega 7 and also 5600 GT. No dedicated GPU are going to be allowed in this video. Now Zenless Zero was released back in 2024 and it was the third title for the Hoyoverse. You already know the game's name, which is from the Genshin Impact. Yes, the same game was also built by the company of the Hoyoverse, and this Zenless Zero is also created by the Hoyoverse as well as, and it is the third entry. The second entry was the HSR and first entry was the Genshin Impact. Since the Genshin launch in 2020, it just created a phenomenon one after another and also created some of those like a huge space for the other gacha companies. Why am I saying this? Because before the Genshin release, the gacha is considered as a niche genre. Most of the people who really want to play gacha, they have to be the anime nerd or somewhat like a related to the Japanese pachinko types of stuff. Then you might be even be some of those like a likable stuff to this gacha part. But when it comes to the gacha as a whole genre of a mainstream compared to the Call of Duty and also other games, it doesn't even add any of this like a value, because there was so many bad system, bad monetization and also bad loot box system, which is somewhat not even favorable for other players who don't even relate to this game. But after the Genshin release, when they just totally generalized the pool system, especially if you just somehow lost the first character, next character going to be guaranteed, you don't even have to just totally spend your whole life saving to get a single particular character. People are actually engaging it, but that's not the main thing. What people are actually hooked into the gacha gaming, the main thing was the corona. Yes, when the time of the Genshin release, which is the quarantine time, people are actually afraid that what are going to be happen to their life. So Genshin was kind of like a magical things what actually happened to the people, and after playing it some several bit of time, people were actually fell in love into it and they just totally playing it and kept playing it. But there was some kind of like a problem was happening, which is none other than the developer are not even listening to the global player, rather than they just listen to the Chinese player. You already know the Chinese does have some like a communist types of things, which is can be heated up if they are not even controlled by the developers at all. Now there's another part of the Genshin Impact, but in 2024 there was also kind of like a competitor was arrived, which is the Wuthering S. It's very similar to Genshin Impact. People consider it as a Genshin but better. It also kind of like created a controversy between the Zenless Zero and also this Wuthering S. The release time was kind of like a 1 month away. In Wuthering S, it was released kind of like April month, but when it comes to the Zenless Zero, it was released kind of like a July. So that was 1 month or 1.5 months apart. People were thinking that aside from the Genshin Impact, you already know that how much of a qualityful game it was. Zenless Zero are going to be delivered the same as what their previous two games were done. But people are actually being wrong. Zenless Zero is not even that much of a good what we thought it would be compared to the HSR and also Genshin Impact. But when it comes to the Wuthering S, it does have the pretty much of a bad launch, but people who actually love Wuthering S gameplay style and also depth of this story, especially Wuthering S does not even add any end of value in the 1.0 version, but after some test data they somewhat like a rile up after one after another. But before then that there are some kind of like a shields who actually really try to defend it, especially the players who totally left from the Genshin Impact and they really wanted to find another games who actually similar to Genshin Impact, but somewhat developer are going to be listen to your voices, which Wuthering S very much of a shine compared to the other gacha game in this space. Okay, that's kind of like a simple things, but when it comes to Zenless Zero, does not even have the open world element, just like the Genshin Impact. It is considered it's one of those like a restricted area where you have to fight on a certain battle arena, and after that won't even have options to explore other areas. But when the Zenless Zero hit their first anniversary, it just totally changed up the whole game system. It became the kind of like a restricted area to semi-open world, not even the full open world where you can totally jump or climb some of those like a rock mountain or other thing. If I just give you a closest example, it could be none other than the Arknight Infield, but Arknight Infield is much more broader what the Zenless Zero has provided to us. Zenless Zero is very much of an enrich in this gacha space. If you just somehow try to hurt some of the people that which gacha game does have the high quality of a production, people are going to be indicate towards the Wuthering S. But in my opinion, Zenless Zero are also in a very much of high competition toward the Wuthering S. Yes, Wuthering S does have the 3D models and all the other things. Zenless Zero does also have that, but when it comes to Zenless Zero, they have the very much of a fluid animation, very much of a stylish parry system, and the parry system is very easy in this game. Now I totally yap all those things, but if you really want to play this game, I want to give you a single thought. Do you really want to have a higher amount of challenge system, then I guess you should go for the Wuthering Waves. But you really want to see some flashy stuff and also high quality fluid animations, Zenless are going to be your party. Okay, I just totally have another things which is going to be unrelated to this video topic, where I'm going to give you some like a benchmark rundown. Let's see the settings. For the settings, I'm totally going to play this game on my native resolution, which is a 1080p FPS, going to be unlimited. This is one of those like a gacha game where they are going to allow you to make your FPS going to be unlimited, not going to be capped like a 120 or other things. Vertical sync are going to be disabled. Rendering going to be lowest amount of possible. Of course, giving the lowest amount of possible are going to be give me higher amount of FPS, and other thing are going to be low and disable according to the low preset. So that's all for the settings. Let's see the gameplay. So as you already know that the Zenless Zero is not even that much of an open world area compared to the Wuthering Waves and also other competitors. It was the restricted area before the release of the first anniversary, but after the first anniversary the game shifted towards the semi-open world. As you can see that the area you are seeing, it is totally released after the first anniversary, and it becomes the semi-open world where you are does have the very much of a limited expectation, where you can totally climb that particular area and also does some of those like a small puzzles of here and there. Some of those like a boss are going to be appear when you are going to explore the certain areas, are also opening up the chest, but overall it will actually going to be hard for that. Let me show you. Here we go. We do have the bosses. And another part is that if you're seeing some of this like a hiccups here and there of the characters, I like to suggest you that don't even worry. I'm currently installing this game on my hard disk, and this is 2026. Playing this game on a hard disk is actually not going to be the first option that you should totally do. But as you already know that storage and also RAM price are totally increasing back and forth, so you might not even have an options to play this game on a hard disk. Buying a 128GB of a SSD is actually pretty much of a diabolical thing to do that. It is doubling up to the price where it was previously before. Okay, man, my team selection is not even that good anyway. So as you can see that when I just totally engage to a certain enemies, my FPS totally goes down to 60 to 49, 43, which is still playable things. I'm not saying that it is super duper playable. See that my FPS are hicking up to 48 to 47 FPS. This is another thing what I'm trying to show you. There is the hiccup just because of installing this game on my hard disk. When you are going to explore the area, the FPS might be somewhat lower than 1 or 2% because the area's border and some of those like a high fidelity area are going to be rendering back and forth. So there might be pressurized to your IGP and also some of those like other components. IGP is the main fact. Your CPU is already much more powerful to handle a $400 to $500 of a GPU. This character does have the traversal mechanics or unique mechanics. You cannot even have this traversal mechanics on any other character. These are small gimmicks where you can see that you can hovering on some of this like a, what's this thing again? Pillar something, yes. I guess that's all for this video. I know that the gameplay section is very much for lower compared to the intro sections where totally you have so many things which is not even related to this topic. But if you really like it, leave a like, and if you do have any more kind of like a suggestion that what kind of game should I even do benchmark in my next video, you can totally let me know in the comment section. I will be replying then, and I will try my best to do that on my next video. So see you till then. Bye bye.